You've done the affirmations, the sleep audios, the mantras. You've sat in the visualization and repeated the new belief over and over and over, done the journal prompts, yet the pattern is still there. The ceiling keeps showing up. The same flavor of stuck keeps finding you in a different costume. And if you're really honest with yourself right now, part of you is starting to wonder if you're broken. Well, you're not broken, but you've been working on the wrong layer. See, everybody's talking about the subconscious, right? And most of it is pointing in the right direction, but it's stopping about 3 feet short of where the actual change lives. The subconscious conversation is real, and something like 95% of your behavior runs below conscious awareness. The programs running in the background, the ones that determine how you respond to money, to stress, to opportunity, to being seen, most of them were installed before you can even decide whether they were true. So the idea that you need to change what's running underneath, that's actually right. And it's true, but the problem isn't the concept. The problem is how they approach it. See, most subconscious programming teaches you to repeat new beliefs until they override the old ones through repetition and passion, with affirmations, visualizations, catching the thought, replacing it with a better one, snapping your hand, right? Doing some sort of thing that helps you remind yourself, oh yeah, I got to change that, got to work on that, let go of that, switch it. And this does work to a point for surface patterns or mild resistance, for beliefs that are lightly held. These tools can create real shifts. So I'm not throwing rocks at any of that. They did help me on my journey. But there's a category of pattern that doesn't respond to this approach. And if you're watching this video, I'd bet money it's the category you're dealing with. These are patterns that survive everything. You can do the NLP, the tapping, the reprogramming, the therapy, the journaling, and 6 months later, you're back where you started. The same pattern, different day. And the reason is not that you're doing the wrong work. The reason is you're working at the wrong location. You see, the subconscious mind is a layer. It's real, but it's not the deepest layer. Beneath it is something I've spent years mapping out, what I call cellular memory. And until you work there, you're rearranging furniture in a house built with a cracked foundation. Here's the simplest way I can explain the difference. Your subconscious stores data. Your cells store identity. So when something happens to you, especially something repeated or something experienced with intense emotion or pain, that event doesn't just become a memory. It becomes part of your biological blueprint. Your cells start operating as though that event is still happening right now, which most people label as like traumas or things of that nature, but then they label it as something that's in the subconscious. And that's why you can intellectually know you're safe or worthy or capable or successful and still feel like you're about to be found out, like you're about to lose everything, like you don't actually belong at the level where you're operating at. The subconscious got the new story. The cells are still running the old ones. And I know this because I lived it. When I first discovered this work, I didn't test it on a client. I didn't test it on money or business goals yet. I actually tested it on my wife, Emily, and she had a gluten allergy. So a real physiological thing, not a mindset thing, not beliefs, but her body. And it actually worked on her body. The gluten allergy shifted. See, that's what told me that this was different from everything else I had tried. And I had tried a lot of different things, from meditations, therapies, over 600 processes, from root causal removals. And I was obsessed with the personal development world. I was the guy volunteering at events because I was too broke to buy a ticket. And I'd done all the subconscious work. And yet my body was still stuck. My results did not show the amount of effort that I had put into subconscious work. But when I saw a physical allergy shift at the cellular level, I knew that the pattern wasn't where everybody said it was. It wasn't in just the subconscious, it was in the cells. And when I started applying that to my own patterns, my own addictions to struggle and my own allergies to success, everything started to change. So I went from a place where I had doubts and uncertainties of not feeling like I belonged, trying to scale my 6-figure business to 7-figure business. and maintaining that and being able to help people all over the world. And I went from this place of not feeling good enough to being on some of the biggest stages in the world in front of tens of thousands of people. So no amount of affirmations had come close to the results that I was seeing, because the pattern wasn't living in my subconscious. It was living in my cells. And I could say positive affirmations, I could do positive visualizations. But if I was thinking and visualizing and my body was reacting non-ideally or negatively to it, then I'm actually fighting against myself. So it's not about just positive thinking or positive feeling. It's about how do I react to those positive thoughts and feelings. The goal is, can I get into a state where I react really well to what's ideal and I reject what's not ideal? So I worked with a best-selling author named Jenny who wrote a book called Self-Sabotage No More. And she was already an expert in the subconscious field, helping people get incredible results. And yet she told me sometimes that we would remove all unprocessed emotions and clients would still be sabotaging. So she spent a year learning the cellular approach because she realized the subconscious tools alone weren't reaching the depth where sabotage actually lived, which is in the body. Another woman named Candace, who came through one of our events, she said that this is the missing piece that I've been looking for. I've been diving deep, learning lots of modalities around the mind, and still felt like there was something missing. Learning that our body, our cellular makeup has memory too, has just blown my mind. See, this is the distinction. Traditional approaches go in through the mind and try to influence the body. Cellular alignment goes in at the level of the body and the level stored experience and changes the signal from the source. So when you work at that level, you don't have to keep repeating new beliefs until they stick. The shift happens because the cellular memory itself has been updated. The old pattern doesn't have a biological home anymore, and it doesn't take years. I've watched this happen in minutes. I worked with a guy named Doug who was already successful, already making good money, but he kept hitting just under six-figure months. He couldn't break through. And when he went in, the pattern wasn't about money at all. It was a core childhood identity of not being good enough, of always falling short. That's where the cap was living, not in his strategy, not in his subconscious beliefs about money, but it was in his cells. So we ran an alignment and he made his first $50,000 day. So he knew it and he said that this is just one alignment. And it's like seeing yourself open up and get into a flow state. You stop resisting the things that you desire. So the things you've been programming in your subconscious become natural. So there's 3 signs you're dealing with a cellular program or pattern, not just a belief that you can reprogram. The first one is speed. When a cellular memory gets triggered, the response happens before your conscious mind can do anything about it. It's not a thought. It's a reaction your body produces. Your chest may tighten, or in your shoulder, your energy drops suddenly. Your voice changes, and that feeling of shrinking occurs. So that happens in a fraction of a second. That speed is the signature of something stored at a cellular level, not just at the level of belief. The second one is the reaction doesn't match the situation. If a minor criticism sends you into a spiral, if a slow revenue month feels like the whole thing is collapsing, or if someone doesn't return your call and you immediately start questioning your worth, that disproportionate response is your signal. The cell isn't reacting to what's happening now. It's reacting to something that happened long ago, and usually it's lots of parts of your body. So it can't tell the difference between something years ago and in the moment. And the third one is persistence. So if you've done the work, you've done multiple rounds, multiple modalities, and this particular pattern, this specific flavor of stuck keeps finding its way back, then you know this is a deeper cellular problem. So if you do see that you have these reoccurring themes, so this doesn't mean that it's an identity or a character flaw. This is simply a cellular program that is a pattern that you can change in minutes. And it is workable. So the personal development industry is not wrong. Subconscious work is great. It's good. But when you match subconscious work with cellular conscious work, then things work in the moment, and you don't have to repeat them for 40 years to try to convince your body. So these approaches help me, and they'll help you. But if you've done the work and you're still hitting that ceiling, You don't need more work of the same level. You need to go deeper. So you're not someone who lacks discipline or commitment or desire. If you've done the subconscious work and hit a wall, it's not because you didn't do enough. It's because the work wasn't designed to reach where the pattern actually lives. The ceiling is not a life sentence. It's simply a location. And once you know where it's at, you can go there directly, and learning this technique, you can shift it quickly. So no more years of incremental progress or trying to do it through repetition and passion. Repetition has its place to teach, but if you resist the skill set or resist the thing that you're trying to obtain, then you're simply creating more fight-flight responses every single day. So you could have ideal things that you're working toward and positive affirmations and thinking positive. But if your core identity and different parts of your body are rejecting that, then it's kind of like driving a car with the parking brake on. You're going to burn out, and it's going to feel like you should be way further ahead. I had a woman named Karen. She told me after one of our events, I go to a lot of training, she said, and often think, wow, this is great. I hope it'll work. But this is already working. It started working on day one. That's the difference between information and transformation. We teach you to apply what is taught in the moment. And that's what it feels like when the approach matches where the pattern actually lives. So drop a comment and tell me, what's the one pattern that has survived everything you've thrown at it? And if this opened up something for you, subscribe. To go deeper, you can join my Unstoppablepreneur Community. Links in the description. Be unstoppable.